Look forward to meeting all of you. Thanks for spending time coming out to practice. I'm really excited to join the Sounders. Pretty cool that Adrian was willing to give me a chance at this job. It's something that I've aspired to for a while, and I'm hopeful that we can combine the best of RSL and all the good things the Sounders are already doing, and hopefully make them just a little bit better and push us over the top to winning the MLS Cup and hopefully competing for the Champions League.
What was it like coming out to your first training session? I know that RSL has a very rich, culture with fans, but also here.
I never had a supporters group greeting us on the way into practice, so that was pretty awesome. Really cool, good atmosphere. For me, still meeting the players and learning names and things like that. So early days, early stages in terms of team construction, but these guys got it under control, and they've had. I know when I first came here my first day and I realized that they had scouts, I was like, that's really cool. That sounds like something that could be really helpful. We just had to kind of divvy everything up and kind of do it ad hoc at RSL, and we survived. But it sure is nice to have guys that are doing that for a living. So really happy to have Chris and Kurt, and to have a sports science department here led by Dave Tenney, who's one of the best in the business. This is the preeminent team in MLS for that stuff. And one of the cool things of the first week of the job has been, week one was really good in terms of working with a group at the draft, pretty high stress situation, good group dynamic in terms of working together, getting the roll down deal done. And then the second week has been a lot of learning the details, learning contracts, learning people, learning the staff, learning how we fit together, and understanding what the resources are here, and they're significantly more than what I'm used to, which is a pretty cool thing. And now it's how to use them efficiently.
After those first couple weeks, you've probably compared Rolodexes a little bit. How different is your kind of contact list to Chris Henderson and Adrian Hanauer's? Yeah,
they're definitely different. The teams play different systems, to state the obvious. So there's some crossover, but there's not, if that makes any sense. It's with RSL, you're effectively playing with 4 central midfielders. With Sounders, you're using wingers at least far more often than RSL ever did, which gives you slightly different job descriptions for your back four, specifically the outside backs, what's asked of them. So there's overlap, but it's as much comparing networks of people that we know as opposed to, I like this player, you like that player. Part of my process right now, honestly, is getting to understand how they play tactically. I can watch them on TV and I can say, all right, this guy plays this way, and that this is a general player profile. But when you're getting in and getting to know Ziggy and talking to these guys and understanding, okay, this is what I really want out of that position. All right, now I can have a more educated opinion as to who to add and how best to do that.
But those player networks that you were talking about, how different is that network?
I wouldn't call it radically different, but we're stronger in different parts of the world. I mean, RSL signed dozens of Latin American players. You've also signed Latin American players here, but maybe not as many. So I would say that maybe I know a few more folks there. But the Sounders, to be fair, know a lot more folks than I did in Europe, so which one would expect with Ziggy's background. So it's nothing earth-shattering. I mean, it's what you'd imagine if you look at who the guys who we had at RSL and who they have here, and those are the people we talk to. You put them together, you're definitely stronger. You definitely know more people. But I think the strength of that is really going to come over the next months and years, as opposed to in week 1 or week 2, when we have here at Sounders a very, very good team, won 2 titles last year. And as I told the guys today, I said, I am not coming in here to make this my team. That would be beyond foolish of me. I'm coming in here to work with all the talent that we have here. Ziggy's one of the best coaches in the league. Again, we have among the most resources in the league, and I really look forward to using those and working on plans to launch S2 and develop the academy and do things that make us long-term much stronger than we are right now.
In the training today, you have 10 starters coming back. I know it's early on, but it's got to be a good base to work with to see some of those guys out there that are going to be back.
Absolutely. And I was commenting to Chris when we were watching training, like you can just tell there's 15, 20 guys out there. They've done this before. I mean, and they know what they're doing, and it's going to be easy from that point in terms of there's no culture to build, there's no structure to install. You got a really good foundation, and it's just about getting the best out of everybody.
You've been on the cusp, obviously, of the MLS Cup. What's going to push past? What's something different that you may add to this whole situation to get this team to that level where they need to be?
I think it's a little bit of strategic planning and discipline, and so and I know everyone here is rabidly eager to win the Cup next year, and I would tell you that winning the Cup is really hard. And I say that because at RSL we felt we should have won more than one. We won in 2009, and we felt our 2010 team was better than that team. Made it back to the final in 13. You lose in 10 rounds of penalties. So, the other argument I hear is, Sounders hasn't been a good tournament team. So the playoffs don't suit them. it's hard to argue that for me when they have all the success they've had in the Open Cup. I mean, they've done very well in knockout tournaments. So I think all the tools are here. All the pieces are here. I think it's just putting things together. And again, what I'm focused on is be disciplined in terms of how we use our resources, and I mean that from a salary cap perspective as well. Don't just go out and sign a good player. Go out and sign the right player that you need to make the team better in the spot where perhaps you're weakest. And then long-term developing, as I talked about in other interviews, an organizational depth chart where we're having a 3 to 5 year strategic plan where we have kids at the academy level, the S2 level, and we're then pushing players into the first team level actively over the period of the next couple of years, such that hopefully you get to a point where success is inevitable, as opposed to just a product of a lot of good coaching and good players. Yes.
There have been some reports out there that Tyler Miller has signed a deal with a team in Germany. Can you comment on where you guys are at in that process and if that's true? Yeah,
talked to his agent. Texted with his agent last night. We've offered Tyler a contract. It's not clear to me what Tyler's going to do with that, but he has an offer in Germany. He has an offer from us, and I hope to know today on that. That said, it's out of our control. He's training in Germany, and Tyler will make the decision he makes. And I think the really important thing, a part of this, is, to me, I'd really like to have Tyler come back, but if he doesn't, that's okay too. He is a good kid. Really enjoyed my conversation with him. He is an asset for the organization, and that is the type of acquisition. You say, how am I going to make the club better? Acquire assets, stockpile assets over time, and have a plan such that, again, you try to make success inevitable. So whether Tyler comes back today, or he comes back in 6 months, or he comes back in 2 years, we want to make the goalkeeping top to bottom in this organization better. We added Perkins to help Fry, but you need 4 goalkeepers in the organization to have good goalkeeping going forward. We drafted Lions. Not all those kids are going to work out. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about building an organization, building a farm system such that you have kids that no matter what happens, you can push them into every spot on the team.
To what degree do you think this is sort of your March-ready roster, and to what degree are there some holes you still want to fill?
We're always looking at players, and we'll continue to look at players. Sounders have had a pretty good track record of signing at least one guy out of preseason, meaning we have a couple of trialists here with us now. We'll have a look at them. We have, 4 or 5 weeks to go through this. And again, I think part of getting value is not taking the first deal in front of you. And if you can identify a trialist who you think is a little bit cheaper and can fit into your scheme, then that's something we're definitely going to explore.
Are there any specific weaknesses that you feel that you need to address?
I think depending on how you look at the winger position, it wouldn't hurt us to add some speed. It wouldn't hurt us to add some depth there. I like both Lamar and Marco Papa. I think they're very good players. Brad was used out there last year. I'm not sure if that's going to be the full-time role for him this year. That'll be a decision that Ziggy and the coaches will certainly be a big part of. But if Brad came in and played more centrally, say, you definitely would need another player in that position to try to augment that, especially having sold DeAndre, who was able to give you width in some positions. Jerome looked good today, Jerome Mears. He's definitely a player that we added as a faster player to add some width. Jerome hasn't played a lot of matches recently, so again, we got to see how that goes over the course of preseason as well.
Great, thanks guys.